If you're a 1/6 scale collector, it's really important that you know your FOMOs from your DOPOs, your NRDs from your BSTs. This is the 1/6 scale glossary. Let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome to 1/6 Figure Focus, and this video is the 1/6 scale glossary. So if this is your first time to the channel, maybe consider hitting that like button, hitting subscribe button. Let's take a look at some 1/6 scale terminology. PO. PO stands for pre-order. How a lot of these 1/6 scale companies operate is they put up a prototype of their product and then they show you a release window, somewhere between 3 and 6 months, and usually it's about 12 months away or 18 months away, or sometimes over 2 years, unfortunately. And how it works is you put your deposit down or start your payment plan with the view of buying it in future upon release. Of course, these pre-orders, they're not available straight away, hence the term pre-order. Payment plan. Payment plans are very useful. Sideshow Collectibles offers them, and other different official distributors and resellers offer them as well. How it's typically done is something gives you the ability to break up your payment. For example, let's say a figure costs $300. Usually the deposit is either 10 or 20%, and then the remainder can be broken up into maybe, 6 months, $50 a month. So it gives you the ability to still pay off your pre-order before it released, but in simpler, kind of smaller, manageable batches, $50 a month or $30 a month or something like that. And depends, of course, depends on the size of the actual item and the price of the item, and you can spread out your payment plan. For example, Jazzinc 89 Batmobile, that's an expensive piece. That's like $1,500. So there's no way I was going to pay that off straight away. I opted for a really long payment plan on that one. DOPO, day one pre-order. It's when you really like something, so you order it straight away the day it goes up for announcements. You see the prototype, it's something you love, you know you're not going to change your mind, or at least you think you're not going to change your mind, and you immediately buy it, pay it off, or put a deposit down. Remember, that balance is going to have to come home eventually the time that it actually comes out for announcement. So yeah, DOPO is something that's can get out of hand quite quickly, not something I'd recommend all of the time. FOMO, fear of missing out, kind of goes hand in hand with DOPO. It's when something's been hyped up and maybe you're a collector and you're wondering, do I really want this thing? Do I really, maybe this is limited or exclusive, or, you're kind of worried about missing out on it. So maybe you let the emotions get the best of you and order. Again, not something that I would recommend either. N or D, non-refundable deposit. A lot of sites offer this option, usually either 10 or 20%. For example, Sideshow goes 10%. So let's say there is a figure that's $300 and you put down your non-refundable deposit and you pay your $30. So that secures your figure upon release. However, you have to pay the balance. You can pay it via payment plan or just pay out the balance, or 90% when the figure gets released. However, if you cancel your pre-order, you lose your N or D, hence the term non-refundable deposit. The only kind of caveat to that on Sideshow, at least, is that if the figure gets delayed and doesn't actually get released in the window they specify, which is a 6-month window, you can then cancel and get back your non-refundable deposit because they've kind of broke their agreement. A reseller, really simple, not an official distributor. These are people or groups of people or companies, usually based in Hong Kong, that go to Secret Base, buy the figures, and then resell them on the secondary market. Usually, not always, but usually more expensive with a bit of a markup. But the advantage is you can probably get them a bit quicker once they are a reputable reseller. Okay, always do your own research. But yeah, usually they're a bit more expensive because they're day one, you get them quick and get them usually a few months quicker than Sideshow, depending on the figure. Sideshow, sometimes shortened to SS, capital S, whatever you want. So sometimes you're going to see that, especially if you're new to the 1/6 scale collecting. They're the official distributor for Europe and North America. Now, I personally don't really buy off them anymore, but that's a thing called VAT. VAT in Ireland and custom tax and stuff makes it too expensive. I usually go to a reputable Hong Kong reseller. I use HotToys, but always use your own. Use your own discretion and always do your own research and be comfortable before you buy. But yeah, Sideshow are the kind of, I suppose, the first kind of company that a lot of people would buy their figures off, and then they kind of go looking for more competitive rates. So Sideshow is the official distributor for Europe and North America. Articulation is basically how well the figure moves, its range of movement. So if you look at a statue, no articulation because it has no joints, no moving parts for the most part. But then 6 scale figures, they're kind of famous for their articulation. Now I know HotToys tends to favor realism over articulation. You're not going to get the same articulation from a Hot Toy that you're going to get from like a Marvel Legends or something like that. But in fairness, some of their figures are astounding, the amount of articulation and movement you have, like for example the engineering in the Iron Man figures. So yeah, articulation is basically how well the figure moves and therefore how well it will pose or stand. So really important, and it's that's controlled by like the number of joints, the types of joints, if it's like single jointed, double jointed, butterfly joints, drop down thighs and stuff like that. So articulation is how well the figure will move and how well it will pose. BST means buy, sell, trade groups. They're very popular among 6 scale collectors, so people can like sell on the figures that they've maybe fell out of love with or maybe bought into the hype and FOMO bought. And of course, where you can pick up figures that you're looking for that maybe are sold out on Sideshow or your favorite distributor or reseller of choice. Again though, word of caution, some buy sell trade groups are kind of rife with scammers, so be really careful that you always get references when you're about to buy something on a buy sell trade group. Licensing, very simple. I'm going to explain this with a Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man from Endgame. Before HotToys or any other company can actually make any of these figures, you first of all need to be licensed, as in they have to have the license for Marvel, MCU for that particular movement and for the actor's likeness. And it's the actor, providing they're alive, signs off on their agent or people or whatever, sign off saying, yeah, that's okay to use my likeness. You can use my head sculpt and likeness on your figure. If the actor or actress has passed away, sometimes it's their family, next of kin, or their estate that signs off in their likeness. Basically a contract saying you can use my likeness. Third-party figures, basically the opposite of licensed figures. They're kind of operating illegally. They don't have the license or the contract in place to make these figures. They might not have the likeness, they don't have the actors or actresses likeness license or likeness rights. They don't have the rights to the character. They don't have the rights to the movie. So basically they're operating illegally. Some of them are quite good. Like if you look at Mars Toys, their Joker that they did, the Cesar Romero one, fantastic. But they don't have the license to do that. So therefore they won't call it the Joker. They'll call it something different and, you know, hope to get away with it. CCFLs, I've got a few in the background. These are usually, it stands for cold cathode fluorescent lamps. And these little tubes that basically when electricity runs through them, they glow and they're used to make lightsabers. They have their pros and cons. They're quite expensive. The very ends don't light up. They kind of heat up as well, and some of them aren't USB powered. So, but the advantage though is they do look the business. They look a lot better than the HotToys ones. Fusion reactors. These are ways of basically wiring up your Iron Man figures with light up parts using USB. It's basically a USB connected to a wire which splits off into several different dummy batteries so you can keep your Iron Man lit up all at once. Fusion reactors are on Instagram. I've used them a lot. I think they're fantastic. Like if you've ever taken an Iron Man figure and loaded in all those button cell batteries, there's like 3 for the chest, usually 3 for each arm, and then for the legs as well, and then they die after about 10 minutes. So yeah, fusion reactors is a great way of keeping your Iron Man figures lit up all the time. SKUs. These are basically when a figure comes out, I'll keep it simple. You'll have the basic version and the deluxe version. The same exact figure, but the deluxe version will come with maybe an extra head sculpt, usually like a fancy diorama base or some sort of exclusive accessories. So that'll be 2 SKUs. Sometimes there can be up to 4 SKUs. For example, the Darth Vader from the Kenobi show, there was 4 different versions of that. The base figure was the same, but one of the deluxe versions came with like, I don't know, another diorama base and an extra head sculpt or something like that, that the clean and battle damage part. There was 4 different ways, and then there was holograms and everything, so it was the same figure but 4 different variations of it. Base figure is the same, but some of the accessories and parts were different. DIO is short for dio or diorama base. So usually some of the deluxe figures come with more fancy bases which might be scene specific. They might light up and they'll be a lot, they'll take up more space, but a lot more fancy and a lot more effort has gone into making them. So diorama base is usually some sort of a scene specific base that comes with the special editions or deluxe version of the figures. Prototype. A prototype is what they use to advertise the final product. Usually there'll be a bit of a difference between the proto and the final product. Sometimes an acceptable difference and then sometimes like an unacceptable difference. So they make a first version or a initial version of this figure. They take photos of it and then they show us what they are when it goes up for announcement. But these are prototypes. It's like the final product might, because they're mass producing these things, might be slightly different. Okay, so a prototype is what they use to advertise the final product to us, but the final product could be different, so be careful. Likeness is really simple. Does the final product, does the head sculpt look like who it's supposed to be? Does it look like Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow? Does it look like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man? Does it look like Christian Bale as Batman, and so on and so on? onesixkit. They are a Hong Kong based reseller or shop. They have a very good reputation and they're very, very popular. So like a lot of the stuff, for example, products that maybe you can't buy direct from Inart in America or Ireland or whatever, a lot of times you can go to onesixkit for this stuff. For example, I know a lot of Americans at the moment are looking to buy their Catwoman 2-pack from Jazzinc or single pack or whatever from onesixkit. From what I've heard, really, really good. I've used them once or twice and yeah, they've been great. And finally, TBA. This is Toys Buying Agent or Tim Cent, another very reputable Hong Kong based reseller. Again, I've used them before and they're quite good. Okay folks, that's the end of the video. That was my 1/6 scale glossary. It's a non-exhaustive list. There's loads of other things, but I hope especially if you're a new collector, you got some sort of value out of the video. If you want to support this channel, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Let me know if there's anything else that I missed out in the comments, any other like terminology that's really important that especially new 1/6 scale collectors getting into the game and the community need to know. You can also follow me on Instagram, on an X. That's it. It's the end of the video. See you in the next one. Good luck.